Okay, so I left this thing to dry overnight, and look at that. It's so nice. I actually knocked off those little, whatever they were, fuzz bunnies or whatever. I knocked them off with my fingers, and yeah, it looks great. So there's a decal that goes in here. It says Enduro. And I'm going to put that on there, and then we're going to clear coat it. I mean, it looks pretty shiny already. It looks like it's probably a semi-gloss, the paint that I used. But we're going to put a clear on it anyway to protect it. So we're just going to clear it all at once. So what we're going to do now is I got the rest of these pieces hanging. We're going to go ahead and degrease it, and then we'll put the bright yellow on it, and then we're going to go ahead and put that, I don't know, that darker mustardy yellow on it.
It's delicious.
Alright guys, so this is what it looks like after 4 coats. The tank's pretty nice. Fender, the oil tank, not bad, and the other fender, this was always cracked, and so I tried to epoxy it on the back. We'll see if it works, but it's on the back side of the wheel, so imagine this is the bike here. Fender goes like this. This part is cracked. So I'm not gonna worry about it, but I have enough paint left to maybe do one more coat. So I think I'm gonna do one more at least on the tank and the oil tank, and then whatever's left we'll just separate them between the two fenders. Okay, so the paint turned out great. It's all shiny and everything. Before I put the clear coat on though, we'll put some decals. So I had my wife cut me out some the decals, because you really just can't find them on the internet anywhere online. So she went on her little Cricut and cut these things out. Now these ones here we kind of had to improvise, but I think they look pretty good. Kind of goes like that, and then the white Yamaha goes right in the center here, kind of like that. So anyway, we'll stick those on, and then we'll spray the clear over it. Okay guys, so the decals went on pretty good. We're ready to put our clear down. So before I put clear, you know, I handled this tank quite a bit, so I just want to clean it off. I just want to make sure that I don't have any debris on there, so I picked up a tack cloth. We're just going to wipe it down. It's not going to take any like, well, it says dirt, dust, and other debris, but it's not going to take any oils, you know, from your fingers or anything out of it. But it'll at least make sure that if there's any debris in here, that you know, we can clean it off the surface. So I have everything hanging, and I'm going to put, I think, 4 coats of clear on this thing. The first one's going to be a light coat, then after that it's going to be heavy coats. The tank especially needs the you know, the most amount of clear, because it, you know, it's right there between your legs. It's always going to get banged up and stuff. So we'll put a couple extra coats on this if we can. Okay guys, I got 4 coats clear on this thing. You can see it's just shiny. So there's definitely a little bit of orange peel on there. I might have to wet sand that out, but that's not a big deal. And I'll probably only do it to the tank. But the rest of these pieces, they all look great. They're all super shiny. Look at this. Well, you probably can't even tell. But anyway, well, there's a nice shine there. Oh yeah. Anyway, we're gonna give this about 2 days to dry in this heated garage, and then we'll start putting her back together, I think. Okay, so the last thing we need to paint before we can clean this mess up are these engine covers. So this one's easy, it's a clutch cover. It came off the bike fairly simply. This one here though might be a little trickier. So the oil pump is behind this cover, and like I told you, all these lines are like 40 years old. So this line here that goes actually to the you know, right before the reed valves is crimped on both ends. So it's crimped on here and it's crimped on the oil pump. Let me just show you what it looks like. Alright, so check it out. This is that oil pump I was just talking about. And really what I'm worried about is, you know, disconnecting all these lines, and then them breaking, and then I'm not gonna be able to get them back on or whatever. And like I said, this one here, I really don't know if you can see that in there. Probably not. But it's actually crimped on the pump, and it's crimped up there. So one way or another, I can't remove that, and I don't want to remove the oil pump. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to drain the oil. I'm going to pull the cover off the bike. I'm just going to tape it, you know, and then these all be connected still. I'm going to tape the cable, tape it up so I can spray this cover kind of off the bike. Okay, so I tried loosening these things by hand, and these things are just so tight. So I got this thing. I don't know, you're supposed to hit the end, and when you hit the end, it kind of loosens it up a little bit. So anyway, I'm gonna try this. All right, guys. So I just popped the cover off. I'm gonna scuff it up real quick, and then we'll cover up this this cable, this thing here for the Kickstarter, and then this fill port. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to scuff it up real quick with some 600 grit, and we'll just spray it right here on the bike. So I just covered the bike with a cloth, and like I said, I'm going to tape the rest of it up. So we'll do it right here on the spot. Hopefully we can get her done. Okay, it's all scuffed up, looks pretty good, and it's pretty smooth to the touch here. This area is really bad just because that's where, you know, when I was a kid and my dad was taking me for rides, I'd put my feet here. So anyway, that's why the covers are bad up here. Anyway, everything's scuffed up everywhere. Everything's really smooth. So I'm just gonna shoot it with some paint and not worry about it too much. All right, guys, check it out. It looks pretty minty. Here's the other one too. Turned out really good. So I put 2 coats on there and then a clear. Looks really good. So I think we're gonna start reassembling this thing. I got the 2 just little pieces there, kind of just drying. Anyway, so we'll put this thing back together. One thing I was amazed about was I was able to get the gasket to come off of the back of this thing in one piece, which is amazing. Anyway, so we're gonna put this back together, bolt this cover back on. So here's my plan with this gasket. This thing's super old. There's no way it's gonna seal again. I mean, maybe, but you can see it's already been compressed and everything. So essentially what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just use some RTV, some gasket makers, some high temp stuff, and just put a really small bead right along the edge, really small. And then I'll stick it on there and seal it up, and hopefully that'll work for us. Alright, this is what I came up with. I got a little sloppy over here, but it's pretty thin everywhere else. So let's try putting that on the bike. Alright, so next thing we got to worry about here is the exhaust pipe. So it's pretty good shape, just gotta scuff it up. We're gonna paint it with some VHT high temp paint. And then this is the tailpipe, same thing, it'll be easy peasy. Alright guys, so yeah, it's not VHT, it's actually Rust-Oleum, but it's good to 2000 Fahrenheit. So anyway, painted these things. They look pretty good. I put a primer on first. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with this kind of stuff, but you're essentially supposed to spray this on, and then after it dries, like the next day, you're supposed to put this back on the car and run it, or the bike, and run it, and then it'll kind of like bake itself on there, almost like a ceramic coating. So we'll try that. Hopefully it lasts a little bit longer because it's rated for 200 Fahrenheit, so we'll see.
Alright, so it's the next day. Let's start putting her together.
Alright, so here's the parts that I need to put back on the bike. There's not too many of them. We should be able to hammer this out pretty quickly.
Alright guys, so you can see I broke the Kickstarter on this thing when I was a kid, and so what we're going to do to get the first start on video here is I'm going to have to run it down the driveway, bump start it, and I'll get my buddy here to record. So we'll see if she starts. fast, man. Flat out. Third gear.
All right, so now that that project's done, it's time to put it back in storage for another 30 years. Good night.